We all meditate. Meditate isn't something you learn. Meditation is something we all do. Let's hype him up, Riley. Let's hype him up. Let's hype him up. Oh my God. Welcome to Be Insanely Great. Don't know when it dropped, but again, we are here in the present moment together. I am here now recording on this day. You are listening live in your present moments as you will continue to listen throughout the next series of seconds throughout the entire episode. And thank you for being here. Thank you for the opportunity for us to connect and engage with one another in a series of present moments. They've been bottling this water for almost 500 years. And Michelangelo, he was part of he did work for the Medici family and so did Da Vinci. And, these guys, again, incredible artists and creators and kind of ones that if you look at their quotes and they found something within and a lot of times it was struggle. A lot of times it was like being creative was the only time in which they were free. Being creative was the only time in which they were experiencing the joy of what Einstein calls relativity. They were experiencing a series of present moments in which they were connected and they were creating and they were doing something and that's another going back to the labels comment, right? Is like we label people of art as artists, musicians, sculptors, potters, clay molders, architects, right? And there's many others that I'm not including, but trust me, they are absolutely, we all know who they are and what they are, and actors and all this stuff. And so like, but why can't every one of us be an artist in what it is that we feel is our purpose, that we feel is what it is that we should be creating? Like we can do that. Why not? If all potentials exist, why not? Going back to Lewis Hamilton and his F1 driving is an expression of his inner feelings. What? Okay. Paul McCartney, your songwriting is you have to be in the right mood. You have to have a clear mind and you got to trust your initial feelings because you don't really know where you're going. Okay. Like would the classical definition of artist apply to Lewis Hamilton, F1 race car driver? I don't think so. But look, Zach Thomas, Miami Dolphins, Hall of Famer, Zach Thomas. Congratulations, Zach Thomas. Football player. One of the smallest middle linebackers like ever, right? Goosebumps everywhere. I grew up like idolizing this guy, and to have met him in person on several random occasions at the casino, which I already said I stopped gambling. So I was 18 years old. I went to the casino, and guess who was at a table like right over there? Zach Thomas. And my best friend Jeff and I are like, oh my God, he's right there. Like, how did that even happen? And every Sunday, what do you think I was thinking about? Oh my God, Zach Thomas is amazing. And look, I go to the casino and he's right there, 2 tables next to me. And then we go to the table and oh my God, we get in a hand together. And then I beat him. And I'm like, oh my God, did that just happen? And he's like, looks at me, he says, you got me, don't you? I said, yes, but it's okay. I don't really care. Like, this is amazing. I don't even know if you'll probably ever remember this, but like, whoa. So I think I might have actually made like $30 that night, but it was amazing. And it was an amazing interaction. And then, I met, he got inducted into the Ring of Honor in the Miami Dolphins stadium. And my best friend Jeff and I went there and we were happened to be in seats right below where he was in the suite, right below. Like, we looked back and everybody was looking. We're like, who's looking? And we looked, and Jason Taylor and Zach Thomas were literally right in the suite there. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. What? We came for their induction game in the Ring of Honor in the stadium, and they just happened to be in the suite right behind us. That we literally share a, I wasn't in a suite, but I was in seats, and we shared a common like walking corridor. So oh my God, we might run into them. So my buddy's like, let's wait till after the game. Let's wait till after the game. Let's see if they come out. We waited like 30 minutes. I said, Jeff, let's go. I can't wait any longer. Traffic's ridiculous. We got to go. He's like, no, let's wait. Zach Thomas came out. That genuine guy, he stopped, took pictures with literally every person that was waiting. He came up, he smiled, he did everything with such grace. And he came up to my friend and I, and he says, oh my God. He said, you have authentic jerseys with my name on it? Wow, that's incredible. The gratitude and grace of you, Zach Thomas, is unbelievable. And for someone to be undersized, to be playing on the highest level on the planet in a sport that you believed in yourself, to then go do. Why is that not art? Why is that not creation of? Why is that not the expression of knowing our purpose and fulfilling and expressing it? And then on the back end to be so grateful and so genuine and so just personable and down to earth, right? And I had I had the incredible opportunity to see him. And you guys are like, man, this guy's stalking Zach Thomas. I promise you, like, I didn't plan any of this. It just happened. I saw him in the grocery store several times. I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. I'm seeing him in the grocery store randomly, on Sundays, of course, before COVID. And then COVID happened. I didn't see him for 3 years. And then randomly on one Sunday, he was picking an orange as I walked in the grocery store. And I'm like freaking out. And my wife's like, don't do anything crazy. And I'm like, I won't. She's like, let's go. And I'm like, I'm going to say something. So I went up to him. I said, Zach, I said, I don't know if you remember this, but I said, Zach, I said, thank you so much for being you. I said, you have been such an inspiration in my life, and as an example of when good things happen in your life, and you have the opportunity to be so fortunate and financially free, or whatever it is you want to call it, and to be a figure and a role model in people's lives, to be so graceful. Thank you for that. And he was so nice. And he says, what's your name? And I said, my name's Joe. I said, I know your name. It's Zach. Nice to meet you. And I shook his hand, and it was incredible. And that was before he was inducted to the Hall of Fame. And that was like 6 months ago. And then I found out he was inducted, and to see his reaction on the video where all his family's at the top of the stairs, and he's just overwhelmed with emotion and gratitude, and just such an incredible person. And again, like, why, for someone to believe in themselves, to be, I think he came from Texas Tech, which is not A-list school, to be drafted where he was drafted, which was in the middle rounds, to then become a starter, to then be a leader of the team, to then get into the Ring of Honor, and to now be in the Hall of Fame. And to like, why isn't that not art, right? No one would, very few people might call an athlete an artist, but why not? Why not? And if you think about the elements of joy that songs inspire, when we're at a game and we're supporting and we're seeing things that happen that we're excited about, right? We feel it, the relativity happens too. It's like, oh my God, did that just happen? We're not thinking about time. We're just present. We're just present in the moment, experiencing the excitement and the joy of what's happening, and then when our teams aren't doing well, oh, this is terrible. When's this game going to be over? It's exactly the opposite. But when it's going well, we're like, we're not even looking at the clock. We're just having fun. We're just enjoying ourselves and enjoying life. Right. And can we find more moments to do that? Can we find more moments to be joyful? Why not? It's like the common thread is there, but can we look at it from the perspective that, oh, maybe all right, a label as an artist, or as a as and even digging further as a creator, right? We can all be creators. We can all be those of us that love to cook, we probably feel most creative when we're cooking, even though that's not our job, that's not what we earn a living doing, right? Or people that like to knit, people that like to mow their own grass, people that like to have flower gardens, right? Like, or whatever it is, right? We find things that we enjoy, and those are the things that we create. And that if we can find more opportunities to create, instead of you know kind of being stuck in an emotion of just doing things to do things for a result that we don't even usually have a real understanding as to like why it is that we're doing that, and the choices that we made, of how we got there. And that's okay. I've done it. Everybody's done that, right? But now is the present moment. Now is the present moment, and that's where all potentials exist. And here's another fun kind of thing is, going back to the live comment, right? We're live now. We are live in the present moment for you that is listening right now. Okay? We are live with you. And as the mechanics of quantum physics say, your present moment is influencing me now, and my present moment is influencing you now. So we are connected. And although you might be listening at a time later than today, and I might be, hearing a reaction from you in that future, in this present moment, everything is connected. In this present moment, all is happening for what it is that it is within my world, within your world, within all of our individual worlds out there. Think of it like that. Can we? Why not? Why not? So, the Beatles, right? Should we talk about the lyrics? We haven't talked about the lyrics. We've talked about the whole the event, the moments leading up to the event, and we'll kind of go back and forth and touch on them throughout. I think that'll be a good thing. But if we just look at the lyrics and the song choices, right? So I think they had an intention of I think getting 14 songs. That was the goal. I think that's what they wanted to do, was 14 songs. Can't really remember or recall in this moment how many repeats. I think they did Get Back, I want to say, like 3 times. I think they did Don't Let Me Down 2 times. I've Got a Feeling 2 times. God Save the Queen, Dig a Pony once. But let's look at the story, as John Lennon, or one of them, said it in their kind of casual conversations. What's the story? I think Paul McCartney said. Paul, I think you said this. I think you said, what's the story we're trying to tell, right? What's the story we're trying to tell? And going back to the, like, what if perfection is the baseline and we're constantly building and improving upon it, right? And Paul, man, you to me, you seem like the driver of improving on that perfection and refining and refining and refining and making it better and better and better, because yes, you are the Beatles. You are the most idolized, and most push the limits, extreme potential of what's possible with music at that time. And even now, right? Because here we are talking about something you did 54 years ago. 54 years ago, right? And so, what's the story? So they start off with Get Back, and then they say, oh, let's do another take. And then they do, and I'm going off of recollection here, so Riley, if you have the set list and all of that, please correct me. But I've listened to it a lot of times, so I meditate to it too. Like, now I can meditate to songs, and you're like, what? That's crazy. I'm like, yes, You can meditate to anything, and that's another label. We'll go off on a small tangent for a moment, but it's important. It's important because label of meditation, some person sitting in a corner quietly, you know, we all meditate in every moment of every day. We just think meditation is some mindfulness thing. But in reality, meditation is to become familiar with. That's the definition. And so when we're thinking about all the things that we don't want, when we're thinking about all the things that we're anxious about, when we're thinking about all the things that are like, oh my God, this is terrible. Or alternatively, oh my God, this is exactly what I want. Like, that's meditation. That's meditation. We are meditating every second of our waking day. We are. If we're honest with ourselves and remove the limit of the definition of the word, we are becoming familiar with every time we're thinking and feeling something, we're becoming familiar with it. We're becoming familiar with it. If we're honest with ourselves, that's what we're doing. So we are meditating. And personally, I was meditating on all the things I didn't want most of the day. But if I reflect back and touching on the point I mentioned, I touched on where I said, like my journey started before 9 months ago, whatever it was. If I'm reflecting back further and further, like my grandmother's magnet on her thing about the past, the present, and the future, I totally forgot about that until we're talking about it today. But wow, talk about planting a seed and having meditation be something that we all do. We all know it. We all do it all the time. And if I look back on my thing, I meditated every morning on something that I really wanted professionally. Really wanted. It took a year and a half to happen. A year and a half every day working on it. But you know what? I spent most of and I say I did that in the morning for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe 2 or 3 minutes if I was lucky. I'm sure I didn't do it every day. But you know what? I spent the most of my rest of the day worrying about all the things that could go wrong, fearing all the things that were bad. No wonder it took a year and a half. No wonder. I was giving it love and appreciation and gratitude. Hello, Grackle, another little bird that visits here, and I goosebumps again. I was giving it love, but I was giving it love for like 2 minutes a day. And I was giving it fear for hours upon hours a day. It happened, but it happened in a backwards, way. And that story is still unfolding in my life. And so going back to meditation, we all meditate. Meditate isn't something you learn. Meditation is something we all do all the time, literally all the time. If we allow ourselves to have a new unlimited definition of the word, maybe if we choose, we don't have to. Everybody does them. Everybody makes their own choices. Everybody can have whatever it is, the potentials that they want to exist in their own present moment. Right. And so could we give ourselves the opportunity to meditate, even if we're not going in a quarter sitting quietly, but instead of thinking about all the things that we don't want to think about, say, you know what? Not going to think about that. I need to think about this. And even when those thoughts come in, having the discipline to say, nope, like go away. I need to think about this. And it's hard. And I can tell you, honestly, I still have that happen. That still happens frequently, but putting it into perspective and looking at kind of the whole picture, like it's much less frequent that happens, and much more frequent that I've given myself, at least in my own experience, the opportunity to choose joy, choose love, and to say no to those thoughts and totally don't even have any feelings of negative feelings. Right. And what if we gave ourselves that chance? What if we gave ourselves that chance? What if we gave ourselves that chance? It's possible. All right, back to the Beatles. All right, set lists, right? We're talking about telling the story. We're talking about this is why live is going to be so great. It's going to be like, here's Joe going off on some random tangent again. But you know what? It's not random. It's not a tangent because it's kind of related and interconnected within all of that is all of everything that is, right? And so, all right, set list. Did Get Back, said, that wasn't good enough. Let's do it again. Did Get Back again, which please, in the next version, Peter Jackson, can you please show Billy Preston on the keys more frequently? Please, please. I was looking for him on the keys and I only saw our good friends Paul, George, John, and Ringo, which amazing. But you know what? Billy was there too. He's there. And his energy on the keys, incredible, incredible. Thank you, Billy Preston, for finding your way there to be part of that amazing and incredible creation that still resonates in present moments around the world today. But so Did Get Back, take one, take two. They didn't even finish showing the first take in the documentary. They said, all right, let's move to take two. If you download the album from Apple Music or whatever it is you listen to, or Spotify or whatever, you can hear the full take one. Pretty good take. I mean, I thought it was pretty perfect, but they didn't. So they did it again. Right. So they did take two. And then they do that. And it was better. It was better than the last version. Right. And then so let's think about Get Back for a second. Right. So Get Back, and the lyrics of Get Back where? When Paul's jamming out and it comes to him and the casual conversations they had, he's like, I don't know what it means. And I think George says it's a bunch of nonsense, or, some unique, like, eloquent, witty British word that they use instead of nonsense. I can't remember. Rubbish, maybe. I think rubbish is what he said. He probably said rubbish. He's like, that's some rubbish. And so oddly enough, in the documentary, after he said that's rubbish, if you look at the documentary, they played a bunch of versions of Get Back with a bunch of political, like, things that were happening in the UK at the time. And what happened? Like, the song was full of a bunch of rubbish. If you look at it from that perspective, is that they tried different variation of it with a bunch of rubbish in it, right? And so only when they were looking at trying to tell a story and using and leveraging the influence that they have as world recognized, like, idols. And they looked at the lyrics and they tried to have it make sense. And as John said, when they first started talking about, like, what they're trying to do and why they're trying to do it and what the whole point is, communication. So what are they trying to communicate? What are they trying to communicate? Get back where? Right. And then I think they said they made it like a revolutionary song, or like some sort of peace song. Right. And so, but but all of those things have, it's like putting a label on it. Right. And so if we put a label on it and we think about it in that way, like, that's all, like, we just stop thinking because, that's what they said. That's what it is. But what if we remove that label, and what if we kind of opened it up and just, instead of having, the lyrics be, get back JoJo or get back Loretta, like, it could be anybody. It could be anybody. Could be any one of us. And anything could be, like, something that's referenced as a thing, as a noun, could be anything in our lives. Right? I can't wait to talk about Hotel California lyrics. That's a future episode. What? You're probably saying, what the hell is this guy talking about? But hey, we'll talk about it. Everybody, we'll see what that looks like. But giving, so, like, what's it say? Get back. And he says, JoJo was a man who thought he was a loner, and he's not a loner anymore. And then, Loretta thought she was a woman and she's actually a man, whatever, and then they get into the lyrics. He's just like, get back. All right. Well, where are we getting back to? Well, kind of going back to this creative thing, and to restating Einstein's quote of a common thread of all the most influential people that have ever walked this earth is they're finding their inner purpose and their inner soul and their inner connection before anything else. Before you knew who they were. Like, okay, so get back to that. Okay, maybe. just leave it as a maybe. Everybody think about it and be open to it potentially, right? Maybe. If not, that's cool too, right? And so like get back, right? And then we'll kind of just fast forward through the rest of the lyrics and just kind of use the main point of get back, right? And then they do the first take, they do the second take, and then don't let me down. All right. All right. Universal intelligence saying get back. All right, you got back. All right. You get back? Well, don't let me down. Don't let me down. If you got back and you found what it is that's inside, that's trying to express a connection that we all have that's unique to every one of us, and we figure it out. Whether it's race car driving Lewis Hamilton, whether it's being yourself to be able to, find and motivate and be an influential person in society, Oprah, whether it's, Zach Thomas playing football and being the smallest linebacker, but believing in himself, or anybody in any one of our lives that has done something to that effect, to where we know that they've done that. Okay, once you do that, don't let me down. Don't let me down, please. Don't let me down. Please. Right? Don't let me down. And in the lyrics of that song, he said, oh, beautiful doves. In the lyrics of that song, you can indicate anything you see. Believe. Think and feel. Believe. That's an indication. And then you see it. So many of us say, I need to see it before I believe it. Okay, well, everybody has. I thought that too. That was me. 1000%. That was me. 100%. Show me the data. Show me the facts. I don't believe you. Sorry, I need to see it. But after a journey of self-reflection and having an awareness to the present moment and seeing things as gifts. And Einstein, another quote, he says, you can live life as if nothing's a miracle, or you can live life as if everything is a miracle. What an amazing way to live. What? No wonder Steve Harvey says we get to do this and we get to do that instead of having the got to do it. No one wants the got to do anything. I don't want to got to do anything. I don't think anybody does. To be able to get to do it, like, oh my God, that's incredible. That's a miracle. That is a miracle in and of itself. In and of itself, right? So don't let me down once you figure this out, right? You can indicate anything you see, and then the lyrics that John Lennon says as they're kind of going through such a beautiful song. We all had a wet dream. We all had a good year. We all had a bad year. It's like, how inclusive. What an inclusive set of lyrics to like remove all labels to anything in anyone and just let everyone potentially picture themselves in the moment of that possibility. Right?
I thought it was really good when he says, what is it? I'm in love for the first time. Don't you know it's going to last? It's a love that lasts forever. It's a love that had
love that has no past. Love that has no past. And so if we are all light, and this is the information, and all you need is love, and we forgot about love, and we started focusing on everything that's outside of us, and started looking inside of us. As my beloved nephew Bradley reminded me, as prior to my journey, happiness is within us. It's not outside of us. We all look 12 years old, by the way, when he told me this a year and a half ago. He said, happiness is within us. We all look outside of us, and there's no happiness out there until we find it in here. I said, whoa, where'd that little wise wisdom come from? But that was the seed that was planted for me in that moment, in my present moment, in my awareness. We all have these that happen. And so, yes, past, a love that has no past, talking about love, right? And being and allowing us to feel that. The next song, What's next on Riley?
I've got a feeling.
I've got a feeling. Yes, I've got a feeling. And oh my God, can we like rewind to the first time Paul McCartney? I'm gonna do this again because it's so fun. Like Paul McCartney, first time you saw Billy Preston on the keys, and I'm pretty sure everybody said, "Oh, let's give him the lyrics or let's give him the songs." And George said, "Oh, no, let's just play it." And you play it. He gets on the keys, and your face when you look at him like, "Oh my God, this is gonna be amazing!" What? 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 Yes. Yes. And that's exactly what happened. It was amazing. It is amazing. Still feel the energy of how amazing it is. Right? And that energy transcends time. That energy can be felt. We feel it. I've got a feeling. Okay. All right. So get back. See what's in here. Don't let me down once you figure it out. Okay. So how do you sustain it? Okay. Feelings are what sustains it. Thoughts and feelings are all that create our realities, they say within the mechanics of quantum physics. So like, how do we, if all we're consumed about in our daily lives is feelings of survival and feelings of anxiety and stress and all this stuff we got to do, or fear of this is going to happen, or if we don't do this we're not going to get that, like, okay, feeling. So like, but what is feeling happy even like feel like when we're constantly like feelings, at least in my own observation, and I think a lot of us probably relate, is when we feel one thing, if we feel like we think about a similar event, and then we just start talking about that, and a similar event we just start talking about that. It's like the saying, I don't know who said this, but misery loves company, right? Misery loves company. So what does that mean? Like it keeps festering, it keeps snowballing. These thoughts of misery keep kind of, oh yeah, this upset me, oh this upset me too, or this person did this and that was terrible, and blah 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 blah, and we keep going down that road. But happiness also loves company. Happiness also loves company. If we give it a chance, it's a feeling. Feelings beget feelings. So the feeling, the energy that we give a feeling, we start thinking about other things. We start thinking about other things that are related. We start thinking about other things that where we had a similar feeling, we had a similar reaction, we had a similar like feeling, right? And so how do we even first identify that, or have the awareness to say, okay, like I'm feeling like this way now, and it's not a feeling I want to feel. How do I replace that feeling? And it takes discipline. So, just gonna say it is, but you know what? It's so worth it. So worth it. And to know that, okay, like in the beginning, there might be times in which it's easy. Like, oh my God, this is easy. This is great. My momentum is incredible. Like I feel so much better than I did even a few days or a week ago or a few weeks ago. And then what happens? Life happens. It serves something that you're like, man, I was feeling great. This sucks. I thought, what happened? I thought this was all great. And then we regress, and then we don't. Then we choose not to feel those feelings. Then we choose to accompany our misery with more misery. And we think about all the things that we spent the past few weeks forgetting. And then we go back to it. And then we're right back where we started. Right back where we started. But if we say, nope, 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 don't do that. Not going to do that. And it might not happen right away. It might take these beautiful birds. It might take time. It might be a couple days before we like get out of it, and we're able to like accept that something might be happening for us, even though it's not what we expected. It's totally not what we want. It's totally everything the opposite of what we could have planned for, or we know that we want right now. But what if we gave that a chance to kind of, out or sometimes things need to fall apart before they come back together, and sometimes they come back together in such a more beautiful way than we ever could have imagined, right? And so replacing those negative feelings with positive feelings and feeling what it is to feel like, having a point of reference every once in a while. In the Get Back, one of the first lyrics of the song, he went for some California grass. I mean, psychedelics have the opportunity to provide a perspective to what might be possible, right? This is not, again, I'm not telling anybody to do anything. I'm not teaching anything. Like, everybody makes their own choices, but to have sometimes, which, very, very, very well known and well respected, influential people in the wellness space have referenced these as being elements of perspective that can help open up the possibilities to what the potentials that exist, right? And even if it's, like once in a while or whatever, who knows? But everybody does their own thing. But the point is that's an opportunity to have a feeling of like, what? I've never felt anything like this before. Or you're like, or the feeling you have in a song. And how do you like pull that on the band? I couldn't do that. I could not do that. You could tell me 8-9 months ago to be happy right now. What the hell are you talking about? What? Go away. Go away. Why are you talking to me like that? No. But now it's possible. Now I can feel feeling of happiness, and I know what that feeling feels like. And I can honestly tell you, 9 months ago, I had no idea what that feeling felt like. No idea. No idea. A lot of us don't. Oh, Mr. Cardi, welcome back, Mr. Cardi. Feel the feeling, right? I've got a feeling. And there's a lot of lyrics in that song. Riley, I don't know if there's any you can call out there, but like there's so many that I think just kind of support the energy of what the meaning it seems potentially that song might be conveying.
Is I've got a feeling that keeps me on my toes. I've got a feeling that everybody knows. That's the idea that everybody sort of
inclusive, right? And I can tell you now, there's times where I'm meditating where I'm feeling things I've never felt before, like ever, like feelings of vibration, feelings of in my fingers and in my toes. Love Actually, what a wonderful movie with that with that Christmas song, that has been musician in the movie. I feel it in my fingers and I feel it in my toes. Not the best singer right now, but working on that. Pop, help me out. Anyways, but yeah, so like, yes, feel it in your fingers. You do. And that's part of it, is like, what does this feel like? Everybody has their own version of what it feels like. But if we don't even know where to start, and all we know is feelings of what we, if we're honest with ourselves, we probably don't want, like, give ourselves an opportunity to like be happy, and then be aware to like, okay, what does that feel like? What does that feel like? And then when we're meditating for a purpose and an intention to be quiet, to be still, Einstein says also, and I'm paraphrasing a quote here, he says, creativity comes out of stillness. Creation comes out of quiet. And so, like, the meditation we all have a label for has that, but it also has a definition to which it applies to every thought that we're becoming familiar with at any moment of our day. And so if we can have a point of reference of what, next time we are in a joyous moment of relativity in which it happens so fast, what if we took a moment and said, oh, like in my, I have goosebumps. I have, a feeling, and I feel it. I can remember it, because I can honestly say, like, you asked me to be happy. What? No, go away. What do you, get away from me? No. But now, now I don't, no one asks, because it's like, whoa, what's up? Hello, how you doing? It's there already. But a lot of times, and I can, again, this was not something that was there in the beginning. It was something that I learned by taking little things and reading, reading quotes, having, having things happen throughout the journey of my own meditations, and being quiet and being still, and that kind of a meditation. And now there's times, and I don't, again, I'm not trying to use labels or anything, but maybe some call it like theta brain level, like where, like I feel tingling in my fingers and my toes and literally everywhere. And where I gave the example that first time, the first couple times, it was like a tuning fork. That happened like the first 2 times. And you know what happened for the next like 3 months? Didn't feel it. Didn't feel anything. Didn't feel anything. And then I was like, well, what is that feeling? What is that feeling? And it was constantly trying to be aware of, what is it? What does it feel like? How do I feel that more frequently? How do I get into that? How do I center? How do I ground? How do I access that? How do I in moments where I'm not meditating, like feel that genuinely, and build on that, and have that be the foundation of my experience of life in every present moment, instead of it being, oh man, this is hard, or this, I got to do this, or I don't know what's going on here, or whatever, or this is not going the way I wanted, and instead approaching it with, let's do this, or let's figure it out, or well, these birds are beautiful, let's trust it, let's go with it, just let it flow. So I've got a feeling. Then what, Riley? What's after I've got a feeling?
Is it
the Dig a Pony?
1 after 909.
Oh, 1 after 909. Okay. All right. So the one song in here that I was like, man, which, by the way, I love, again, telling the story, right? They if you think about it from a concept of, and we'll just kind of go through the whole thing real quick, right? So it's almost like Get Back. All right. So if we're going home, right? And then, Don't Let Me Down. And then I've Got a Feeling. And then, oh, the train's here. Train's here to take you. And then to watch the documentary the second time, and to hear that 1 after 909 was a song that John Lennon wrote when he was like 15 years old. Talk about Get Back. Please. Thank you for a reference. Right. And Paul and John, wrote that when they were teenagers. What a great point of reference. Oh, beautiful monarch butterfly. What a great point of reference. Right. Incredible. And to have it be, oh, they're on a train. Get on a train, scoot over, let me get on that train. And oh, 1 after. And if you look up angel numbers or whatever, look up 909, there's some significant meaning there. Believe it or don't believe it, whatever. Everybody does what they want to do. But yeah, there's a train, and then Dig a Pony, and then they go straight in through, I think they do I've Got a Feeling again, and then Don't Let Me Down, and then Get Back. Or God Save the Queen is somewhere in the middle of there. But it's almost like, all right, you get there, you get on a train. Oh, if you missed a train, okay, no problem. And then it basically takes you right through it takes you right in a different sequence through the same songs to try and potentially invoke the same feeling of getting on that train. Right. And going on that journey that, might know where it is, or where it's going, or what's happening, or how things are happening, or when things are happening. But if you can find potential, if we can find what's here, what's in here, what's inside that is intelligent, that is our intuition, that if it's trust ourselves to believe, trust ourselves to accept what it is that we believe is true. Like, we don't have to be there trying to remember, oh, how do you do this or how do you do that? We just trust ourselves, right? We trust ourselves. Catch us next time for another amazing episode of Be Insanely Great, which, by the way, if you don't think it's amazing, that's cool. I think it's amazing. Some people have told me they think it's amazing. It's not about me. It's about us. It's about all of us. It's about all that is and all that is connected, and the interconnectedness of everything, and trying to figure that out. Finding moments of opportunity to choose something that we want for ourselves. And doing that, letting it be, imagining all the possibilities. Yes. Thank you.